What's up? How you all doing today? Are my headphones broken? Pushed in, right? Yeah. Barely hear myself for some reason. And usually it's like super loud. Maybe I messed my headphones up. I think I did. So I can barely. It feels like I really can't hear out of this ear. It might be messed up. Hold on, let me unplug it and plug it back in. Yeah, it feels like it didn't even. Are you? Feels like it's not plugging back in. So weird. Alrighty guys, what's up? How you all doing? I need new headphones. I need the new headphones. Alright guys, how you all doing? Things look a little different, don't they? Yeah. Yes. February 9th, 9:47. Right. Oh my, Mr. Larice feels that way about me? Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not. And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on that night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini? She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Duexnam, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes. You're a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed. Don't worry. I made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris. It is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in the people and believe until the bitter end. That's why my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth, I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands. The court is now in session for the trial of Sister Irish Hazurka Temple. Nah. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris Hazurka Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant.
Objection!
The prosecution stands ready. And you are? Franziska von Kama, prosecuting prodigy. Von Kama, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma. He is daddy. Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, huh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before, or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you're imagining things, Your Honor. Miss Von Karma, do you have anything to say? There's no such weakling as a man who's in the prosecutor's office. There isn't, but I'm sure... I told you, there is no such weakening. Ooh, what? A whip? I'm not sure I care such for things in my court. Bailiff, remove that whip at... Hold it! I have no objections to the whip. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there's still only one truth. That is, I stand to prove today. I gotta get something to drink. Hold on, guys. My throat feels weird. I don't know. Alrighty. Give me one sec. All right. But there still is only one truth. That is what I stand here today to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I'd expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I have been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow you to crush a chance to crush your slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the Wait a minute. Histrionaut. Allow me to add to the things that I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. The stage is set. Now continue with your proceedings, Your Honor. Very well, Mr. Montgomery. Please give an outline of this case, with little whipping as possible. The meta victim is the frame picture book author, Miss Elise Duexton. Her body was found in the Hazuka Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in the question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene. There's no mistake. This is doing of Sister Iris. After all, there was a witness to her crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on there. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our backup. For back pain plagues witness. Bailiff, fetch these crates for the poor lady, please. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little old me? Well, I'm the head nun of Hazuka Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. The court is in the Garden of Holy Judgment. Those with a lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm slight to behold in summer. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say then. First, tell us about your movements that night, eh? Night of the murder. That night, I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazuka Temple. There's no bath in the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hot soak. After I had finished, just as I was heading back, That's when I saw it. So it was simply a coincidence that you found yourself returning to the Hazuka Temple. Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. That sounds a pretty important statement you just made. There's only one problem with that testimony, that is I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle. Now are you, Miles Edgeworth? I don't know, my throat feels so weird, like, as I'm like talking, it's like, I don't know. Am I doing something wrong here? Or is it not in my face? I might need to get a new mic stand or something. I don't know. This thing's being a pain in my ass. It's always blocking the words. There we go. That's way better. So if I'm ever messing up, I guess I didn't see the word right the first time. Or maybe it's a new word I don't know. But it could also be it too. It is what it is. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring your cross-examination. Or please begin your cross-examination. Let's see, acting up, violence, so I left Iris bath at the inner temple. You can see just after I finished, I saw heading back when I saw it. Well. Alright. Okay. Well, we have a testimony from Iris. Witness have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well, don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of the Hazuka Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between you, man. My face ain't working. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims after ringing the lights out bell, she went back to her and stayed in her room. Which means she didn't go to the inner temple at all. No, she said that. The defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back. But that is completely illogical. The murderer has committed in the courtyard of Hazuka Temple, claiming that she went to the inner temple. Would make for a much better alibi. But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie. She does indeed have honest eyes. All people lie. That is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant had any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question. Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you? Well, that isn't exactly what I... My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter. Then I suppose it's too early to end the cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you're going to question the memory of the witness, you would need to show me more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments to a boot irises to the... A boot? Is that a typo? I hope that's a typo. He could be Canadian. or something, I don't know. About Iris in your testimony. Let us return to the cross-examination. That night I was helping an acolyte in her training in the inner temple, but... I came to the inner temple and she was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. Objection! Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant who you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon warding hood, correct? Of course. That very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's a question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this is the hood that was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had the defendant as she claims, then the iris she saw would have been missing this very hood. Well. It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. And now I'm getting that feeling too. I'm going to present this evidence and stick my waggling finger at Von Karma's face, and she will be like, whip. His face. Whoa, sister. This hood. You have a spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see. I stockpile a surplus of hoods, eh? Each stun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned. Then this is quite strange. If there was a surplus of hoods, she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies, such as this, sow the seeds in any human's heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness. Well, I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt. You must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. After my bath, I finished my bath around 11. I thought I should return to the inner temple. And I was walking back I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and Iris was, Miss Elise. With that sword of all things. Miss Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces out into the courtyard. The stabbing I must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. You saw a true terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma's whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Yeah, well, something like that. This judge. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would like to look at the fool if I commented in such foolishness. Anyway, this is mine. This case is mine, Miss Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Push from her window, huh? How about... Objection! Impressive logic. That would... impressive logic. That's what I like to say, anyway. Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, if you would be so kind to take another look at the autopsy report. The autopsy report. The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. That's right. It says after death right there. The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Order, order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that's the case, then the victim must have been killed in a room. Don't you agree? That is a logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed in the defendant in her own room. And she was thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below. Were there any signs of struggle in Miss Duexnum's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would have that blood stain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? Wow. No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Your whip just caused that traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no... I'm sure there's no need for you to go over this, as I'm sure your honor this is well aware. When you stab wound produces this much blood. When it produces the most blood, very little blood is actually lost at the moment of the blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We have to come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with a sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. Order, order, order. I must admit this is a probable version of events. I expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all suspicion on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please remain standing on the crates. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of the winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Oh boy. Alright, alright. I look across at the scene. The sword was already in place. Thinking about now, I don't actually see her stab Miss Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Misagami was stabbing Miss Elise through the back. This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection isn't a possibility. Franziska Von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that. Okay. Hold it. So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood? That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in a room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well. That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Should I press this point further? Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw a little bleeding when the victim was stabbed, but now you say you saw the victim bleeding. Well, I say that I saw what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her, plain as day. Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like came out. Witness, you will add this to your statement to your testimony. Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt. It was smoothly drawn out. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least I like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please explain. Explain yourself. To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she appears to be strong enough for that. Doesn't appear. What's meaningless dribble? I too appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I choose. Von Karma, you probably shouldn't say that because people would love you to like there are people out there that want you to crush them. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. This isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body, up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It would certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that this blade left in the body acts up as a plug of sorts. However, the weapon shaped like this is an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with a shishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop blood loss. I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You've still got more? This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way into the hilt, why would there only be blood up to the tip on it? If the witness is telling the truth, there should be blood along the length of the sword. No. Order. Rah! Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could have maybe managed one, if that. What does all this mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer, and that is the weapon used to kill the victim was not the shishito. Wow. A foolish idea born from foolish mind of a foolishly hearted foolish fool. Let's examine this again. What was it made of? Made us think that this weapon, let us examine this again. What was it that made us think this weapon was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mrs. Ami was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, if you reflect on this, that is only the basis we have assumed such a thing. The impression left by the scene was too strong. That's what influenced us. Influenced us to believe that the Shishido was the murder weapon. Order. Wow. So maybe the Shishido was not the murder weapon. Even if that's the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. That sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That is true. Your response, Miles Edgeworth. If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it arises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us with a sword-like object was found. That's... Answer the question, Miss Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery to throw into the pile. Without a trial, or a trial without a murder weapon, is a tricky beast. Excuse me, can I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking it's possible that maybe it actually happened was just over there. What exactly are you going to do about it? A boot here. Maybe he is Canadian. I don't know. That'd be weird to have that typo again. Make it a typo again if it was. The murder weapon, I mean, maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of. You what? Well then. I think we need to hear the testimony from you once more. One more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this woman, what else could this old woman have seen? I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking it to be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes about 15 minutes to take a walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive the snowmobile after all. Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not the best of shape. What with my back and my age, you know. Quite. There were indeed a snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph. A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, certainly an interesting theory. The tracks began in front of Hazuruka Temple and run all the way to the Dusky Bridge. That solves your pesky little problem, yes? Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in the winter. Making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited. That's it. That's the only one that we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls. Now, you're certain that the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived? Yes, of course. It was parked in front of the gate. So she had already gone to discard the murder weapon and returned by that time. I'm not sure this is really relevant, but what should I do? Press further. I need answers to every possible doubt. The snowmobile in question, was it still warm at that time? Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth? I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that the snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, then it means it was recently used. Ah, I see. I never thought of that. That's right. I overlooked that too. Of course you did. Then answer the question, please, witness. I didn't touch it, so I don't know. I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it. Snow? Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow. There wasn't any snow on it. Curses. It seems that highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, huh? How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by the snowmobile? Less than 5. I'll admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? What do you mean? Iris left the Hazuka temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there would be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those heading out to the bridge, and those coming back. You're right. You are forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction, now doesn't it? I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just to return tracks in the snow. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? There is a flaw in her theory. This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks. The tracks were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that's impossible. Would you care to explain? Why there was a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction. No need. The evidence will do all the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge. In order to dispose of the murder weapon, the outgoing tracks were erased by snow. Or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, huh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. How about this? Witness, please tell us what time it was when you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Of course, that means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for the Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report? Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped around 10:50. Therefore, when Sister witnessed the crime at 11, the snow already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks to be made after that time to have been covered up. Order, order. Very well then. It looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. Wow. It is too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic you rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When the weather report is ever correct. No. You've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast. This is actual data. Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may still have been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m. It's true, it cannot be totally sure. What? How did she pull that off? It had stopped snowing at the Hazuka Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well. I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony. Ha! You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? How about this? Ultimately, it comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed. That's right, but proving that is incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I'm referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow. With just one exception. And that is the victim herself, Miss Elise de Wexton. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to Eagle River and dispose of the murder weapon, then this photograph would have had two sets of tracks. Ah! Order, order. Ah! Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used a snowmobile to leave Hazuka Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing. Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow. Then, this person returned to Hazuka Temple. The snow had stopped. The return tracks remained. Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There is only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder, which can only mean that night Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple. But Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point at some more when I get a chance. The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge. So must have left it. So she must have left it on the Hazuka side of the bridge and crossed on foot. That sounds right. But what is odd is, when I left Iris and returned to Hazuka Temple, I didn't see anything near the Dusky Bridge. You must have failed to see it, sister. Maybe. But when I made it back to Hazuka Temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. And I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too. But that's impossible. Order in the court. What does this all mean? So, then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, then there should be two sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is, after it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazuka Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble. I think we learned all we can from this witness. Yes, nothing more to add. I've told you everything I know. But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If there's only someone, a witness that could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness, huh? There's no one out talking, perhaps, near Dusky Bridge on that night. I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do. That's a shame. Hold up. Hold on. Something is coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out that subarctic night. Your Honor. Actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us. Really? You know, there's someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder. I don't know for sure if he saw it or not. But there are two things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on that night of the murder. And the second thing, this individual I am thinking of went wandering outside on the cold that night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about? It is Larry Butts. This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc de Lecoq's, or Ladcourt's, Guide to Obnoxious French Painting. This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim Elise Duixton. Her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder? That's... I could tell him about his designs for Iris, but it may cost him his credibility as a witness before I can even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that could have helped him. Although I can't guarantee this is the reason. And so, this unfortunate, unreliable looking man, what exactly was it he saw? I don't know. I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom. Summon these youth as the witness immediately. I have no choice, do I? I believe he is in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him. Very well, Larry. You may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything on out of you. The court will now be adjourned for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to the preparing the next witness. Understood, Your Honor. Good. Well then, court is now in recess. To be continued. Do. All right. Save. All right, guys, give me a minute. I'll be. Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm not really sure what to say. Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene. Alright, I can help you any way I can. First, about that night. You really didn't go to the inner temple, correct? That witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying. Mr. Edgeworth, it is just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Herzuka Temple. Very well, the second thing then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. at night. Were you the one who used the snowmobile? There's only one key for the snowmobile, and the only person who could have used it was me. It was me. So it was you. But why? What made you go out to the Dusky Bridge? I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. Iris. I can't tell you about that yet. Not until her safety is confirmed. The safety of the Acolyte. The Acolyte, huh? She must be talking about Maya. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Duexnam? No matter who or what I may come, I can never take a life. As I thought. No, Cyclops. Very well. It is my job to get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough. The courtroom will now reconvene. Miss Von Karma, where is the witness? During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery. Suspicious behavior? He was sketching something very intensely. Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained? He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip. It was you. He was drawing you. I can only presume what. Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. Louise Duexnam, I hope you're ready. Get in here. I would seem that whip is going through plenty more use today. Oh. Your sketch is in contempt of this court. Hey, I was just artistically rendering. Ow! You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct? Look, I'm nothing but a fledgling artist training out in the mountains. I'm only here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, I could technically term for the color Viridian. Larry. This isn't an art store, now is it? I know, I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it? Working in the fields. I presume he wanted to say field work, I hope. That's it, thanks, buddy. It's kind of sad I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. So see, I've got nothing to do with this trial at all. Except all your faces to be red when you realize this mistake, bright red. Or to use the technical term, Crimson Lake. Oh, ouch! Oh. Stop your pathetic babbling and testify like a man. Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is a bad cross-checking. Witness. That was all your fault. Testify now. Wah. This is too much for me. I was at the lodge out in the mountains, looking up at the stairs at night. I walked into the bridge for a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I, edgy? Witness, please. Witness, please refrain from talking directly into the lawyers during your testimony. I'm just a nobody, nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? And why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation or anything else? Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex. He's recently been cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized it for himself. Just how much of a nuisance, he has been to other people. Yeah, that's right. I'm behind everything, every case. Watch out, okay? I'm just touching me will make you internally unhappy. Well then, let us proceed with cross-examination. With no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time. What I saw, man. I was at the lodge, out in the mountain, looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. It seems that he's going to claim to have nothing to do with this to the end. I do want this guy to cost us any more time. I need to slice through his obvious contradictions and keep things moving along. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Did you not see my man?
Objection!
Larry Butts. I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry. But having you realize just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me? It certainly doesn't sound that way to me. However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create. What, you're totally pinning this on me? Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain nefarious individual. You, Larry Butts. That's right, me in the flesh. Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name. As long as you remain pretty pathetic, you will continue to cause these incidents. That reality will not change. But what do you want me to do then? Larry, what you need to do is change your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue, is all I need from you. Edgy, I think I finally woken up. I don't think so. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure this is go especially well. I'll ask again then. Witness, what did you see on the night of the murder? I got something stuck on my eyeball or something. I went to the shack around 9, so it would have been about 10:30. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinding me. I looked out the window and Dusty Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick. You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you? So what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire? It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It was totally burnt out, like almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains was what caused Nick to fall. What did you say? Oh, don't worry, it's nothing life-threatening. He just caught a cold. I never knew with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination. Hold it. You said right away, but exactly how long after the strike was that? The lightning fell, and then the bridge caught on fire. Maybe around 5 minutes? I mean, I suddenly thought, I gotta go check this out. How far is a small shack from the bridge? Hold on. Well, it's pretty much stopped snowing. So I guess about 5-minute walk. How did the Dusky Bridge look when you got there? Like I'd recovered a piece of my childhood? I mean, not even the bonfires the kids make during school camping trips can compare. Well, I should press him a little more though. Right now? Why didn't you call anyone? Why did you go to bridge? Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? With that serious face. Why didn't you call anyone? Huh? What do you mean? Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try to tell someone. There is a public phone right by the Dusky Bridge, correct? Well, of course I thought of doing that. I didn't feel like it, so I went home. So then, let's hear why you didn't. Huh? Yeah, okay, a reason. My reason. It isn't that I did anything to try to tell anyone. I just didn't have time to, okay? Your very existence being a contradiction, I'm not sure if I can grasp this or not. What the hey, Edgy? You make me sound like some sort of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? This much is more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and you immediately went to see what happened. Is this correct? Yeah, well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, lightning fell at 10:45. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to the Dusky Bridge, meaning you probably got there around 11. That sounds about right, I guess. And Nick showed up and did his falling act. That's impossible. What do you mean? 11 p.m. is when the murder occurred at Terzukura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There's no way that Larry could have encountered him at the Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me, I have an objection. You do? Edgy, how many times do you have to say this? I'm not Larry, it's Luis de Wixom. It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister who said it is around 11. In which case it would have been... in which case it could have been better other than that. Watch your footing here. Or there. Miss Francisca von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery. For those who still have no way... or for those... there's still no way that Mr. Wright had been at the Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m. And why not? It is clearly written here in the weather report data. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to turn... for the bridge to burn it out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until 11:45 p.m. Which means, what exactly? Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11, but Wright did not make it there until 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and tell me the whole truth. Now then, what happened during these missing 15 minutes? He was fapping. I feel like I just got brutally woken up by a toilet splishback. So there's a missing 15 minutes prior to the meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem. Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really. The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there's a phone right next to it. Then why did you not report the accident? Yes, witness, why didn't you? Were there... why didn't you? Were you simply to watch the bridge burn? And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burnt out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty. That's what it sounds like. Ah, but this is Larry we are talking about. And even he is incapable of being so stupid. Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction. Edgy, I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought, you've been playing with us all this time. Now power up and get this over with. Listen, I'm going to tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? My power level is over 9,000. Yeah, yes. I may really blah. Then say it. Very well, have a terribly bad feeling about this, however. Let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, for a 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness? I'm a Dwexton. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Fapping. Sketching. In front of the bridge, I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto this page. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out, and then he came running up. I suppose artists can be strange folk. That's right. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch, including the truth from the sound of it. Mr. Edgeworth has removed the last of your doubts. Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains. And what would that be? This is a surprisingly believing story, especially considering the source. So why do you think he needed to hide from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. You really regret this, Edgy. Sketching the burning bridge. The burning bridge and everything that came with it. What came with it? You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this. Blah. Enough. Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. That does need to appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth. What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what is depicted there. Does it really change? Look at it, the sketch. Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch, please. Well, even if I could imagine it turn out like this. Imagined what? That Luis Duexnum debut would take place here, today, like this. Oh. Show it now. Okay. But steel yourselves. This is the world of Luis Duexnum. Very well. So this is Dusty Bridge, correct? Quite a large bid, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Karma. Yes, well. It's a better drawing than expected. Isn't it? Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames. I really did. Yes, I'm sure you did. This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This is a mysteriously flying object. Larry. What? The burning bridge is fine. But what is this unfortunate looking figure? You spotted that. I thought you might. However much I want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris. Of course, it's Iris. I wish she'd take better care of herself. But we have to plan our future, you know? What wouldn't happen to her if she were injured herself? Flying like that. Larry, please, answer this next question honestly. Okay. Are you really claiming to see this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over the bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist, a real artist. Are you high? The girl. She's really high and up in that picture. What was that for? This is all a bad dream. I was hinting you would check that theory. Please whip your own cheek from now on, if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no court is in a law ever acknowledged that people can fly. Actually, there's some precedent for this. She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet off the bridge. At least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring this witness back down to earth. What, me? The witness is your old friend, is he not? Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth. Let us begin the cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here. Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I have another reason to remember this moron. Well, what did you think of my debut piece? Get that thing away from me. Now, hurry up and cross-examine him. Her hood was fluttering, huh? Barry, what did you really see that night? Now that I practically care, or particularly. In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you the whole dollar. That's the truth. That is truly the case. Then there's one thing that we can say for certain. What might that be? The person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant Iris. What do you mean? I don't understand. Blah. A foolhardy folly, a foolish statement by an equally foolhardy fool. Now exactly, can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite a way from the bridge. The hood is what the hood told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood, my darling Iris, and Iris, my darling hood. It seems that you are bigger fools in this world than one at the defense bench. Larry, there's something I need to be aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps you suggest that it was Wright who took the flight. What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Edgy, what's going on with Nick, Iris, and Nick? Why you Nick, you dog? I do believe. I tend to believe Mr. Sketch is destined to disappear, discredited, and discarded straight into the garbage. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Blah. What is it now, witness? I feel like I've been waiting 25 years to this very day to come. Edgy, today I get completely stupefy you. What? What is the meaning of your outburst, witness? I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence. Definitive evidence. Iris did come flying over the burning bridge, and I, Luis Duexton, shall prove it. I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything knowing concerning the defendant depicted in the sketch, and I'll show you your evidence that this nightmare was actually reality. Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy, because I'm going to feed you a whooping serving of pain. You've been serving us a whooping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me. When I reached the dusky bridge, he was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That's what led me finding this beautiful crystal sphere buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost the crystal sphere that night. Oh, you were so wrong. A crystal sphere? This one. Pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers. That sphere. Where did you find it? Let me see. Around here somewhere. Looks about right. And if it was half buried in the snow. It had pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there's still some falling as I wake to the bridge. The court accepts this crystal sphere. That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward. There's something on it. Oh my, it's blood. What? Blood? You ready, Edgy? Tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around anymore. Didn't you want to be called Maurice Duexno only a few minutes ago? After all, no one else could have lost the crystal sphere that night, but if you're such a student of her, what photo is it? Objection! Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who is this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Duexton. The mentor to the stupid idiot. The victim. I have a photo of her here. See it? At the end of her staff, you can see a familiar looking crystal sphere. Hey! That's my photograph. Give it back. Oh, ouch. A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it in my brooch. On my brooch. They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah, the crystal sphere, it's gone. Whoa. What? Wait, what? Just, what does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across that bridge that night, it was certainly not Iris after all. She was not wearing her hood, more importantly. The crystal sphere at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Duexton. A fool alongside another fool, on a fool's errand to reach a fool's conclusion. First of all, this sketch was, which I prefer to call scribble, is ridiculous. Perhaps people cannot fly, thus it's rejected. You can't do that, guys. And the crystal sphere. This is nothing more than a red herring. You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it well, Mr. Edgeworth. If East Wexham was in a room that night of the murder, there was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to the case. That was all. Miss Francisca von Karma. The only people who will be accepted in what is explanation are Scatterbrain and Clowns. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of the murder. And yet you expect us to believe that it has nothing to do with the case. That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder. There was blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? It definitely suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it and threw the investigation off. And it seems, or off the scent, which is the exact reason that it drew the ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe that it is related to this case. She makes a valid point. There's no evidence that at least Wexham left Hazukura Castle temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on the suspicion of this crystal sphere. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who called would have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. Perhaps yourself some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Can I prove it? That isn't an issue. To simply prove it, there's only one option. That's what he'd do. That's the way a Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is vital link to the solving the case. You'll do what? Look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he's cornered. That comes to no sense of surprise. Because right now I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. I order you to present evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that would prove that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped by the murderer. Uh, this crystal sphere was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever slightly snowing. On the other hand, let us take a look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there was no snow in the victim's body. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. Order, order, order! On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to the Dusky Bridge. And there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose. What could that have been? This sphere, there is some kind of blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of the Dusky Bridge. The murder didn't take place in the heart of the temple courtyard. Only a fool would suggest of such foolish piece of absolute evidence. Just who is the fool? And which part is so selfish or foolish? Miss Von Karma. Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Elizabeth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being carried by the defendant in the Hazukura Temple courtyard. That's not exactly true now, is it? Let's put it more precisely. What she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. That's the same thing. No, it isn't. You said yourself. Very little blood was actually lost at the moment of the victim's blade insertion. And if you're really wanting me to talk about when the most blood is lost from the body, that would be when the victim's blade was removed. That statement is the truth. The Dusky Bridge could have very easily been the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding. Are you forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth? Elise Duexton's body was found in Hazuka Temple. On foot as a 50-minute travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazuka Temple. Do you mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? I've made it this far. The only place to take this to the end. I just need to prove that my version of events is perfectly plausible. Now, if the defense is ready for the court to have an explanation, please show the method in which the victim's body was carried to Hazuka Temple. On that snowy night, there was one way that the body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile is used at that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon. but it could also have been used to carry a body. Order, order, order. Ah. This is completely unacceptable, Miles. Now you dug yourself into your own grave. What do you mean? The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in the coffin? You're too late, Franziska von Karma. And the fact in the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that your case requires further investigation. What? Where was the victim Elise Duxton really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for. And finally, just what does this image mean? What do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it. Thus, the witness clearly sits on the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he could never utter a lie, could hurt a girl who he is enamored. He drew this, so it's something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Edgy, thank you. That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances. Right. It seems I have fulfilled my duty, my part on this. Just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you make a wonderful partner. Excuse me. There is one reason, and one reason alone, for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright. Really? This was all about? You could have just told me from the very beginning. Yeah, ouch. Miles Edgeworth. I don't care about what you were here to do. This is my chance to finally grind you under my heel. A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. What a shame, a frenzy! This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You're out. I demand satisfaction. I cannot believe that the witness testimony relates to the actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the real questions it raises. Have this world here today have been the truth for lies. Next time we will gather in this courtroom. Those are the matters that shall be addressed. I'm counting on you. A thorough investigation by both the defense and the prosecution. And with this, the rest is up to you, Wright. Alrighty. Alright, we'll stop here. I'm getting quite tired. I will see you all next time and have a good night. Peace.